Questions for Coach Collins?
Coach, even despite the loss, the energy that was in Diddle Arena today, especially at the start, it felt like it impacted both sides, jumping after the ball, going crazy with how loud it was. Just how nice was that to hear it behind you today?
No, it was phenomenal, and a big shout out to all the schools, all the teachers, all the bus drivers, and all the chaperones, and make sure the kids get in, and they look forward to this and had a lot of fun, and we had talked all week about the kids are going to bring energy, and it was our job to bring energy to the floor. And if we put energy in the floor, then they'll reflect that energy back to us. And if we don't put that energy out there, they're going to have energy, but it's going to be during timeouts. And so I felt like, our girls did a good job of coming out and playing with some passion and excitement and enthusiasm. It's just unfortunate we can't play well enough to win the ball game. And that's the frustrating part. But the crowd, the kids were awesome, and it was a lot of fun having them in here.
It just feels like, once again, you just couldn't find a way to finish there. Had the lead with about 90 seconds to go, under 2 minutes. Throw the ball away, they take the lead, and
then throw the ball away. And then, we in the timeout twice, we said we don't have any team fouls, and we wanted to be aggressive and go after the ball. And we're still kind of standing and watching. And sometimes our game situation awareness, once the lights come on and everything gets sped up, we kind of, you resort back to what you're comfortable doing. And so if you haven't been in those situations, sometimes you're not, comfortable doing the right thing. And we kept talking about it in the timeouts, what we were trying to do, and we just weren't able to execute that on the defensive end. On the offensive end, just unnecessary turnovers over and over. It just kills us. Like, it just, we're not a great shooting team. We made some shots today. We played defense well enough to kind of be in the ball game. It's in the 50s, so we're there, and felt like we had a chance. But when you're not a great shooting team and you're not dominating the defensive boards, you can't also turn the ball over. You just don't have enough opportunities to win. And so down the stretch, we just, and it's not just a passer; it's also the receiver. We practice and even try to emphasize, meet your passes. They're gonna jump in the passing lane. Meet your passes. Go get the ball. 2 hands, get on 2 feet, be strong. And we just kind of stand and wait for the ball to come to us. And and credit to Barry, when games on the line, players make plays to win games. And that's what she did. She made plays to win games, and we stood and waited for things to happen. And you've got to be more assertive. You've got to be more relentless. Whether they're not always going to let you run the play in the spot where we practice all the time. You might have to make a decision to stretch out a little further or post up a little deeper, and that's just where great players make plays to win games, and that's what she did down the stretch.
You look, it's equal in turnovers, 19-19. Obviously not where you want it to be, but still equal in points off turnovers. But it just felt like your turnovers were
in a crucial time.
Right.
In a crucial time, and even when you go back to the Liberty game here, we had the ball and the lead, and we turned it over and they get a layup. And so those crucial moments, just being calm and poised, that's probably the biggest word that I put on the board before almost every game, is just poise is greater than pressure. And if you can maintain poise, you can handle pressure. And what happens is we did a decent job of staying poised in the first half. And when that game gets on the line, that's when our decision making, sometimes we get a little anxious, and it's not just one person. You can see the turnovers are across the board, and so that's the frustrating part. Is you had a great crowd. We kept the game in the 50s, so we got an opportunity. We had some looks, some shots that we just didn't make down the stretch. It would have helped to extend that lead, but then we compounded that by just turning the ball over and giving them transition layups, and it's hard to win games when you do that.
Coach, what Barry was doing against y'all, I felt like Tia was kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Y'all, especially when you're in the Wolves offensively, she was able to get turnovers, create some easy baskets. She's talked about how much she was a big help to keep you guys in the game when the shots were coming.
Absolutely, and that's something that Tia does well, and we were trying to do that even as we were trying to play from behind down the stretch, and we had no team fouls, to be aggressive, and we just had several players standing and watching, I don't know, I don't understand that. That's not what we were trying to do. And so I think maybe sometimes the moments just gets bigger than we're ready for or we're accustomed to. And so Tia did a super job. We got in some foul trouble early. We had to kind of try to survive the first half without her. Was glad to get her back in there in the second half, and she makes a difference. We were having a hard time getting our players press up. We kept running back, and so we were trying to make it a little bit more difficult for them to have quite as much time to execute their zone offense against our defense. And so just sometimes our ability to execute what we're trying to do and what we've done all week, when those lights come on, sometimes we get a little heavy-footed.
You talked about all year how this has been a process to try to get up that hill, get there by March. We're trying to get up that hill, and there's about a month left. What do you?
I feel like we're still spinning our wheels going uphill sometimes, and sometimes we're staying. I am proud of. Today I thought we were much more poised on offense. We didn't take a lot of crazy shots. We've been drilling that about, if you take a bad spinning off-balance shot, you got little chance to make it, no chance for a foul or an offensive rebound. So we've been a lot more deliberate about our shot taking, and I thought we did a better job at that. It's just that today I didn't think we were as intense at the end of shot clocks as we needed to be on defense, and I didn't think we were as focused with the ball in our hands or knowing the ball was coming to us on offense. And those are a couple things that if those things don't improve on the floor, it's really hard to win games. And so at some point, if you want to be a player, you got to make those plays. And we can practice and practice and practice, but if it's better to say, okay, Mike, you stand right there, we're going to throw you the ball, well, then I can have you play instead of them. It doesn't matter who it is. And so at some point, you got to recognize that defense is adjusted, and you have to adjust, either in how you're positioning or what you're going to do. And so sometimes we don't, make those plays in that moment.
I mean, in spite of the loss, in spite of some of the things that you said, it felt like there was something clicking offensively that hasn't been clicking in previous games. What, if anything, has changed?
Well, I think that is playing for each other, sharing the ball, making sure that it's not about you just getting, one great shot so you can post it on social media. We're trying to win a ball game, and this is a team sport, and so making sure that we're being poised, under control, getting quality shots. And so if I see you taking a really crazy shot, we're not going to keep doing that. Early on that was because you didn't know. Now you know. And so if you're taking, be honest, if you're taking stupid shots, you just need to sit down. And it's because that's a really selfish thing to do. And so there's a difference between low shot clock, you're trying to draw a foul, get off a tough shot, and taking just a really bad decision early in the shot clock, and you got shooters open or you got a teammate open and you can move the ball. So, we had good shots by the rim and we still miss them. So we don't need to take any bad shots. We need to keep getting as many good shots as we can get.
Coach, 40 of their 55 points were in the paint.
Yeah.
It just felt like once they got down there, they were kind of scoring at will. How do you kind of combat that? I mean, is it a size thing for them, or is it kind of, you have to wall up a little bit better?
Yeah, you got to. Well, we're walling up, but we're moving like a wall. And so that's the problem. Like you can't. You want to guard them before they get the ball or after they get the ball, because you're going to guard them. And if you're going to guard them after they get the ball, it's going to be harder. And then you've got to work hard to stay in front of them and guard them. And so we tend to sometimes allow too many easy passes come in, or once they get the ball, then we kind of we wall up and we don't keep playing defense. And so that's why we kept rotating different players in that spot and trying to get somebody that was going to give tremendous effort. And now we're still at an athletic disadvantage. I mean, they're still quicker and jump higher and move better. And so, but that doesn't give you a get out of jail free card for effort. You need to put as much effort as you can into trying to guard that player, and then we'll bring some help. So that's something. That's why we're playing zone, Cole. Honestly, if we could just guard, we would play man, and we would be disruptive like the teams in the past. We would turn them over, run down the floor, and score. But we're not. That's not our strength, and so we've got to try to play to where our players' abilities are.
Coach, when a couple of these most recent matchups, it seems like y'all have kind of gotten obliterated from three, but in this one there wasn't very many made threes in this contest. Were you kind of preparing for more of the points to be scored within the three-point line in this matchup?
Well, we knew they have two really good shooters, and Zero, she went off on us down there shooting threes. And so, yes, the last 4 games we've been up double digits at the three-point line. And so the part that they've been just beat over the head with, honestly, is even if that player's not a tremendous shooter, if you don't guard a good player, they're going to make open shots, and then they're going to get confident. And so we were just closing out and not really making them not shoot. We were just standing there hoping they'd miss. And so while Kennesaw is not a great three-point shooting team like some of the teams that we've played, you can't let good players get hot out there. And so I felt like we did a little bit better job of getting out on three-point shooters, but we still had some of those breakdowns tonight. Some of the same players just held a hand or just stood and watched a shooter shoot, and that's not Division I defense. And so we were more focused on that. They've heard a lot about getting out on the three-point line, but then we didn't tighten the floor up. And one of the things that the teams in the past have done well against teams like this is keeping that floor tight, so that when you take that three away, you're not just going to go by me and get inside. You've got to do something else. And we kept that floor open for the pass or the drive, and then try to react late. And so that just doesn't work. Yeah, we were trying to take the three away the last 4 games too. We just didn't do it.
How does it feel to, after so many away games, be back at Diddle, be back playing at home?
Yeah, it was exciting to have all the. My kids are out there and they're excited about the game, and it's a great atmosphere, and we got to practice at home, and they got to sleep in their own bed, and we weren't spending all day in the airport or an airplane and trying to get meals on the bus. That's just hard. We traveled from Miami to Springfield. We flew through Houston. We got in late. We practiced that night, got up the next day. That's hard. That's hard, and we got teams in our conference that can charter from Miami to Springfield. And so they can leave when they want to leave, and they can land, and they can do it. And so our kids had an extra challenge, and so it was great to be back home. And I told them in the huddle, I said, I'm sorry that we didn't pull this thing out, that we didn't make the plays down the stretch that we needed, whether it was, a shot or a pass, whatever it was. I said, but we got to drop it. We've got to learn from a couple mistakes that we made, and then we've got to get ready tomorrow. We'll practice at 3:30 because they got class, and then we'll have to start getting ready for Jack State on Saturday. And we just got to keep focusing forward. I'm trying to keep it positive, trying to keep their energy up, trying to keep their confidence. Trying to keep them together. And I've never been through anything like this, and so that takes the majority of my focus is how do I keep them together? How do I keep them lifted? How do I keep them from crashing? Because it's hard, it's frustrating, and it's tough. And so we've got to do that again tomorrow and try to get ready for Jack State on Saturday.
You're touching on, you're staying at home Saturday night. You do have to play on Valentine's Day, which is, I don't know how many people feel about that. How much would you love to get a win and break that losing streak on Valentine's Day?
Well, I would have loved to have gotten a win any of the last 7 or 8 games. So, I don't care if it's Valentine's Day or, if you said, hey, you're going to play on Christmas, but you're going to win, we're going to play. We might try to play 3 games if that's going to be the day. And so it comes down to, we've got, they're trying their best. I'm not disappointed in their effort. Their effort's not always accurate. It's not always what their effort needs to be doing, and we're just trying to coach and teach them, and so we've got players here that are playing significant minutes that they weren't on the floor last year, and so they're trying to learn how to handle those points where the pressure's on and you've got to make that right decision. So honestly, Valentine's Day or whatever day, it doesn't matter. We just got to keep trying to do what we can do to get in a spot where we can win a ball game, and then try to get some positive momentum for the next one.
Anything else?
Thanks, guys.